Okay, we're gonna go ahead and call to order the Amador County Unified School District meeting. We don't have any public comments on closed session, and all of our members are here, so we are gonna go ahead and go into closed session and should be back at 6:30. We'll just take a really quick break and then we'll get started. Okay, we will go ahead and get started. We do not have a report out on closed session. Mr. Critchfield, do we have any deletions or corrections to the agenda?
We do not.
Okay, if you would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, so we do have quite a few presentations and recognitions tonight. We're going to go ahead and start off with our challenge coins from Jackson Elementary with Mrs. Ramos.
Good evening. I do have a theme this year, and we're going with superheroes. Good evening, members of the Justice League of Amador County, Superintendent Critchfield, super cabinet members, super board members, and our super community. Thank you for the opportunity to spotlight a few of the incredible defenders of education at Jackson Elementary, our very own super staff. This year, I was faced with the challenge of selecting just a handful of awe-inspiring superheroes from Jackson Elementary. But as you might guess, it's almost impossible. Our school is an amazing community of talent where everyone wears their cape with pride and deserves a gold coin. So let's fly into action. Listen for your name. If you hear it, don't hesitate to soar on up here. I need heroes. Ms. Severa, Ms. Esty, Ms. Ward, Ms. Yoshi, Mr. George, and Ms. Jana, who isn't here. Hi, Ms. Jana. So I'm going to read about them right now. So let's begin with Ms. Severa. So come on over.
Oh.
Yeah. Our incredible kindergarten teacher, every day she opens the world of learning to our youngest students with rainbows and butterflies. Her enthusiasm ignites a love for discovery in each student, making the transition to school an exciting adventure. Through her patience and kindness, she helps her students navigate new challenges, building the foundation for future successes. She is a true superhero because she advocates for the young ones and will stand up for students and parents to be heard. It is often said that the best teachers are those who inspire, ignite imagination, and instill love for learning. Ms. Severa shows that sentiment every day.
All right, hold on. This says my name? Stop it, I know what I'm wearing tomorrow. It has my name on it.
Elementary, gotta love them. All right, so next I would like to recognize Miss Esty. Ms. Esty is our dedicated fourth grade teacher. With her innovative teaching method, she not only covers curriculum, but instills critical thinking and a sense of curiosity in her students. One day, I walked into her classroom to see a hands-on lesson of dissecting a real cow's eye. Ew, but everybody was engaged. Ms. Esty has a unique ability to work and connect with students by providing guidance that encourages students to reach their full potential and to make good choices. She is truly a guiding light in our students' educational journey, helping them grow, not only in the classroom, but in the garden, which will be coming soon. Ms. Esty.
Thank you.
So next is Miss Ward. Come on up. I also want to shine the spotlight on Miss Ward, our RTI teacher. In her role, she works diligently to identify students who may need additional support and provide targeted interventions tailored to their unique needs. Ms. Ward's commitment to student success and her advocacy ensures that no child is left behind. She is a true champion for students, always willing to go the extra mile to help them succeed academically and personally. She has also stepped up to help us run our SST and cost meetings. She swooped in like Wonder Woman by setting up these meetings and entering all the data into Aries. Let's hear it for Wonder Woman Ward. Next up is Miss Yoshi. Helping to create a positive learning environment, I must also recognize Ms. Yoshi, our amazing instructional aide. With her endless patience and her infectious enthusiasm, she provides invaluable support to both students, teachers, and staff. Ms. Yoshi's ability to form strong connections with students fosters an atmosphere where everyone feels valued and respected. Her presence in the classroom enhances the educational experience, allowing our students to soar. Whenever I need someone to do something, she's there in a flash in a true superhero fashion. Miss Yoshi. Our next unsung hero is our custodian, Mr. George. Mr. George often works behind the scenes, but he plays an essential role in maintaining a safe and welcoming school environment. He is hardworking and is committed to ensuring our school is clean and ready to go for all. Mr. George brings a friendly smile and a caring demeanor that contributes to this community spirit within our school. And sometimes I can even hear him in the hallway where he also plays the role of Donald Duck. And our kids love it. Mr. George's willingness to share his ideas and insights has been much appreciated. Mr. George. And last but not least, this is for Jana. Jana, where are you? Anyway, finally, I must honor Miss Jana, our dedicated admin assistant. I think she's so dedicated right now, she's probably at work. She is the backbone of our school, always ensuring that everyone has the support they need. She is the glue that holds this school together. Every day, Miss Jana wears her invisible cape and tackles everything from printer jams to creating schedules that make most everyone happy, and then gives me the words of wisdom, Ramos, you can't make everyone happy, to always figuring out a way to get things done when we are short-staffed. With the willingness to do the custodial work, she'll do whatever it takes. Letting students sit with her until I get back into the office, and by then, most situations have been resolved with her Miss Jana talks. And last but not least, she helps to keep our staff together by organizing our monthly potlucks. Superwoman Jana has become my #1 heroine in my work world, and I believe most of the community at Jackson Elementary would say the same thing. Miss Jana. Wait, I know she said she's watching, so here you go, Miss Jana. Miss Jana. You'll wear it tomorrow. She won't, but she will. Together, these remarkable individuals embody the spirit of heroism in our school community. Their dedication, compassion, and hard work go above and beyond for our students every day. They inspire they inspire me and everybody else to strive for excellence and to support one another in our shared goal of education. So let's hear it for Jackson Elementary. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Don't forget your picture in the back with Haley.
Thank you.
All right, next up we are going to do recognition for community hours for certificates in Block A's, and Mr. Critchfield will go ahead and do that.
Okay, I don't have any capes for our students, but I do have some nice gift bags. How this is going to work is we have two different groups. We have one group that has completed a minimum of 135 hours of community service, and then we have a second group that we'll leave for last that has a minimum of 270 hours of community service. Tonight's group of students, many of them are here, but not all of them, have collectively provided 5,286 total hours of community service, which is pretty incredible. So how it's going to work, students, listen, please. I'm going to say how many hours and your name, and then when you come up, I'm going to give you just a brief second. You're going to tell the board just a couple of things you did for your community service. I don't want a full, this isn't like an English essay though, okay? So it's just a brief rundown of some of the examples of things you did for community service. They want to hear what you did versus just how many hours, okay? All right, so first, with 187 hours, Carissa Carney. She's not here. With 242 hours, Sydney Clark. And with 192 hours, Lillianne Cooper. With 228 hours, Lily Feist. Yeah, she's here. First one.
Hi, I wasn't prepared to do this, but I do a lot of work with St. Catherine Drexel. I'm an intern in the parish office currently, and I also am a teen leader for most of my church. I put on youth nights, and I help plan winter formals and a lot of fun stuff, and I've learned a lot, and I'm taking it with me to college and everything, so.
That's awesome. Thank you. Okay, so we have a gift card for you. Uh-oh, I'm all out of order. So if you, oh, I'm making a mess. Okay, if you want to go stand over there, we're going to do a picture in a little bit. Thank you, Lily. Okay, next up, with 147 hours, Taylor Gaskin. I don't believe Taylor's here. She's not. Okay. With 189 hours, Talayli Harrison. Okay. With Saw her, so I know the next one is here. With 241 hours, Krista Rotar.
Good evening. I do a lot of community service with my church. I'm an altar server and a lector at Mass on Sundays, and I am also a TA at my dance studio.
Thank you, Krista. Okay, next with 233 hours, Madison Fairmond. It's not here. Okay. With 140 hours, Dylan Finley. The next two are here. They're related. With 232 hours, Gabe Minderup.
For my community service hours, I work a lot with the church. I work with the kids. I do summer camps with them. That's basically it.
Awesome. Thanks. Okay. And next, big brother Gavin Minderup with 181 hours.
Some of the things I did was I also help out with my church. I'm a student leader, and over the summer I went to Costa Rica on a missions trip and helped out down there. And then I'm also a cadet for the Jackson Police Department, so I help set up like parades and stuff.
Mission trip to Costa Rica sounds rough. All right, 268 hours, Cole Porto.
Good evening. Most of my community service hours have been FFA, like crab feeds and dinner servings, and I build things for school and community events sometimes too.
Thank you. Okay, with 156 hours, Sudie Smith.
Hi, I help out and I coach the Sutter Creek 6th grade volleyball team, and I also help out with Sutter Creek NAS a lot with the nursery and other things like that.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Go Bows.
Okay, so we're moving on up now to our 270 hours or more group with 326 hours, which I think is the most of anyone tonight. Morgan Clark Dennis. With 287 hours, Joaquin Porto.
Mine are pretty similar to my brother's. I've done a lot of FFA community service, as well as Sir Optimus and S Club community service at dinners and community fundraisers like Celebrate Our Children. As of FFA, it's been a lot of crab feeds, dinners, as he said, building things, and help with local community or local families' weddings as well. And that's about the gist of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with 318 hours, Angelina Rangel.
I worked in ELP for a couple years, and then now it's Buckaroo Little.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, with 280 hours, Elliot Traxler. Okay, with 298 hours, she also hit 6 threes last night in a playoff game, Bryn Begovich.
I took baseball stats and football stats all 4 years of high school. So, yeah.
Okay, a little disappointed about this next one. She didn't want to be here with 286 hours, Jenna Critchfield. Taking that one personally. With 271 hours, Christine Owl. It's OU. I apologize for the mispronunciation. Go ahead.
Good evening. I volunteered at 2 places. I volunteered at the Amador Senior Center, where I just served the old people like their meals and stuff. And I worked at the Jackson Oaks Hills Assist Care, where I just worked in activities to keep like them entertained and less lonely. That's it.
That's awesome. Okay, with 284 hours, Chloe Page.
Hi, so my family is a big part in our community. We have a lot of organizations that we're a part of, so I go and help at their events, with their serving or set up for cleaning, Lions Club, Jackson Lions, Native Sons, things like that. On my own, though, I've worked with the Ione and Jackson Rotary Clubs to start up a Interact Club at our school, which is a service-based community or service-based club. I went and served or helped at Ryla and Regal, which were youth programs up in Portola, and I also have helped with my younger siblings, coaching them and coaching others. So thank you.
Okay, and our last student tonight with 300 hours, Colton Scooby. All right, so let's get together, act like you like each other. You're too like formal in a line. Let's kind of squish together for a picture with Haley, and then let's give our students one more round of applause for their awesome community service.
Great job, everybody. You guys are such a huge part in our community, and thank you. Lots of hard work out there. Thank you for coming. You don't have to stay, but of course you are more than welcome to enjoy the rest of the meeting if you would like. So we'll give them just a minute to clear out here before we get started. My computer is being... Okay, so we will go ahead and move on to employee organizations. Is Ms. Jensen here? Did I see her? Oh, there she is. Okay. I was like, I didn't see you. Okay. Yeah. For a really long
time. You saw. The hair. I can't believe I'm doing the hair again. All right, I'm over the hair. I'm never over the hair. Good evening. It's a long story. It'll be spoken about at my funeral, I know.
It looks amazing, Miss Jensen.
Oh, thanks. Thanks. Good evening, members of the board, interim superintendent Critchfield, cabinet, and community members. I am here tonight on behalf of ACTA to call attention to a troubling and highly suspicious pattern that continues to emerge in our district staffing decisions. I ask you to recall last year's board meeting when a vote to change a district office employee's job title resulted in a significant pay increase for that individual. Later in that same meeting, a resolution recommending the elimination of certificated and classified positions, including bus drivers, was brought before the board. Many people whose children were directly affected by those job cuts spoke out, asking for a no vote. The realization that a district office employee had just received a substantial pay raise in the same meeting where essential staff were being cut Staff in a field with considerable shortages, struggling to make ends meet, did not sit well with the board. Ultimately, that board voted no on all proposed eliminations. Tonight, we see another round of job eliminations that raise serious concerns. This time, the leadership is choosing students over district staffing. There are no recommendations for eliminating certificated staff. However, just like last year, this process is happening in stages rather than through a transparent, upfront discussion in a single meeting. How does a district or county function without some form of assistance to the superintendent? These roles exist for a reason, and eliminating them only to reinstate them later under a different title is not responsible governance. I have to think of something else to say before this. I can't say it. I'm just going to say that. This kind of maneuvering does not serve our educators, our students, or our community. It erodes trusts and raises serious questions about the integrity of decision-making at the highest levels. Certificated and classified positions will be cut. Staff who directly serve our students will be eliminated, just not today. Today is the day you feel better about these cuts because they did not directly affect students. Today is the day you will say how responsible these cuts are because they do not immediately impact classrooms. But in the future, you will be facing deeper cuts, increased class sizes, and greater strain on remaining staff, further exacerbating our already critical staffing shortages. Let's not ignore the ripple effect of the current eliminations. How do you run a junior high school without a vice principal? Who is handling discipline? Who is supporting teachers with student behavior, attendance, and academic interventions? Who is ensuring that the school functions smoothly when inevitable changes arise? Junior high is a critical transition period for students, and removing a key leadership role disrupts the very structure needed to support them. Vice principals don't just support discipline, they also spend entire days in IEP and 504 meetings, ensuring that students with disabilities receive the support and accommodations they need. Without them, who will take on this responsibility? These meetings are not optional. They are legal requirements, and they demand the time and expertise of trained administrators. If vice principals are cut, that responsibility shifts directly to the administrator, impacting the ability of schools to function effectively. I urge you all to remember what is happening tonight. Because when future resolutions come before you, when new proposals are presented, we must ask, are we witnessing another round of the same pattern? Are we being given the full picture or just a carefully managed piece of it? Transparency should not be an afterthought. It should be the foundation of how we make decisions that impact our schools, our teachers, and most importantly, our students. Before I say thank you, I'm sure you've read the board packet, but both the elimination of the superintendent's administrative assistant as well as the communications person, the two people that you greet when you go to see the superintendent, those jobs have been eliminated this evening. And we know that can't necessarily, we can't run a district without them or someone. So that was the purpose of that, if you don't understand that. And thank you so very much.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Jensen. Next we have CSEA 239, Mr. Baird. I don't think he's here. No? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and move on to public comments on non-agenda items. So we do have one. We have Michael Garcia. I'm just going to go ahead and read the quick abstract. A person wishing to be heard by the board shall first be recognized by the president and shall then proceed to comment as briefly as the subject permits. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on non-agenda items. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. With board consent, the board president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentation, depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. The president may take a poll of speakers for or against a particular issue and may ask that additional persons speak only if they have something new to add. If you wish to address the board, please complete a speaker card, give it to the board clerk or communications specialist. Go ahead, Mr. Garcia, when you're ready.
Good morning, board, or good afternoon, sorry, evening, whatever. I've been cleaning all day. So, I got a letter here for you guys. I'm not going to read it. I'm going to read a part of it because I don't think it's appropriate, because I was pretty upset when I wrote this. So I don't think it's appropriate that I read it in front of everyone, but I think you guys need to read it because I'm not a janitor, okay? I used to be when I worked at the casino. So I know how to do the job, and I'm not above doing the job. But I also shouldn't be having my students run a study hall while I'm scrubbing floors. It's just kind of strange to say it out loud. Am I less than a teacher? So I just wanted to start with that. I'm going to read one little part of this, and then I'm going to give you the letter, and I would hope that you share that with everybody. So tonight, I am not here to just restate the problem. I'm here for a solution. I'm requesting the board ensure accountability and take immediate steps to enforce cleaning standards for all classrooms, not just mine. Whether that means clearer expectations, improved oversight, or reassignment of duties, action must be taken. My students deserve a safe and sanitary learning environment. I'm willing to collaborate on solutions, but I need assurance that this will be addressed now, not in another 2 months, nor do I want empty promises about staff not being trained just to calm down the angry chef. And also, I would like to say that my students don't get paid to scrub the floors. Now, there's a time and a place for that in every job, but not once a week. I shouldn't be spending the hours from 7 to 8 a.m. scrubbing my floor. I should be preparing my class to learn how to cook. Pretty straightforward, I would think so. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the consent agenda. We did have one speaker card on this item, Mr. Cody Gold.
Good evening, board. It's been a couple months since I've been able to attend in person, so I'm happy to be here and have this opportunity to speak. Some new faces on the board. Welcome. Yeah, just in reviewing the consent agenda, I was looking at the personnel recommendations. I thought it was worth pointing out the 2 long-time employees at Ione Elementary that I know made a difference for me when I was there. The one is the resignation of Mrs. Carol Machado. She was a PE teacher when I was there. She's still there. I think she's a instructional or a intervention aide. So yeah, I just think amazing accomplishment, served the youth of our community for so long. The second one is the retirement of Mr. Ohm. Mr. Ohm, first grade teacher when I attended first grade, and this year he's the 3rd grade teacher for my son, Weston. He was super excited to be in his class this year, and he looks forward to going to school every day, and I look forward to the Mr. Ohm stories every day that come home that Weston shares with me. So I just thought it was worth pointing out his long, successful career and the impact that he's made on multiple generations in the county. So, and that commitment, I think, is even more clear this year. He's been dealing with some personal health issues that most people would not fault him at all to not be at work, but he's still making the commitment to show up every day. So I thought that was worth pointing out. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we will go ahead and continue on with the consent agenda. Does anybody have any questions or comments on consent?
I had a couple warrant questions on the consent agenda. Oh wait, hold on. Let me get to my little sticky note. Mr. Norton, I had emailed him earlier today, and I had sent him questions regarding 6007618 Alcatraz City Cruises. And I also just typed into my little sticky note option that we have here. I still have questions regarding MGM transportation. I'm just reading my notes. I know, I believe when I was in Hawaii, my question regarding MGM, like what is the future plans with MGM? Because those warrants on that consent agenda are just a lot. So I jotted down, still have questions regarding MGM transportation and what our plan is moving forward with them. The amount of money we're spending is crazy to me. The other one was 600-762-94 Danielson Co. Steve Schwartz, 600-762-98 Kittleson Associates, and then the 3 Emergis Healthcare staffing warrants. If I could get those explained. Thanks.
No problem. When we get to Emergis, I'll have actually Dr. Hedegaard step in for that one. She's this is all special education related, so she can fill in better on that one.
All of them, or just the?
Just Emergis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with regards to the Alcatraz City Cruises, this in particular one was for Amador High School. Their Spanish 4 class had raised funds for a field trip to Alcatraz, and they're actually going on March 21st.
Oh, wow.
So what happens is the students all fundraised for it. The money went into the district. District then helps procure the tickets for them. So that's what that one is.
Awesome.
The Danielson Co. is regards to our food service. So essentially, they're one of our food service vendors. So the corn dogs, hot dogs, things like that.
I've asked that before.
It's all good.
Okay.
Kittleson Associates, they are providing the traffic study for consolidation. So this was a part of their process as they're going through with that one.
How many times have we paid them? Because it stuck out to me because we've paid them a few times.
Yeah, so this was in the revision of the draft EIR that the board approved.
Has there been more than 2 traffic studies that we've paid them for? Or are they doing other services?
No, they're doing additional work on the one traffic study.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, and it's just, as their services continue, it just obviously the invoices keep coming on that one.
Okay.
With regards to the MGM transportation piece, we are still reviewing in terms of that. I will note that there were some respects we've have worked out some deals with them, so our charter trips have gone down in what we used to spend at least. They used to be about $2,000 per athletic trip in a lot of cases, ballparking. Mind you, it just depends on distance and other things. And it's gone down comparably to around $700. So those.
So they're like giving us frequent flyer miles?
No, it's just the deal we have with them. It has helped in that particular sense.
Okay.
Obviously, as we'd spoken before when we first did the agreement, having the drivers would be much more preferred than
sure.
outsourcing for this. Some of the things we're looking at is the routes that we are currently holding. Do we need to make any adjustments with regards to that? So that's being evaluated. In addition, some of the services we're getting from them are driver training support.
Correct.
We're also looking at potentially getting more of our folks certified to be driver trainers, so then we don't have to rely on their services as much. So the full plan of action is still being worked on, but there are steps being taken to look into it further.
So we're paying this agency. I remember the agenda item. We were paying for this agency to do everything for us, like training and licensing and all that stuff, right? What are we doing to fish for those people?
We have a bus driver trainer in-house that does a lot of our training, but what happens is you get to a point, so she does the classroom training. There's 20 hours of classwork to get your California school bus driver's license, and then you have to show proficiency, so it can take longer than the 20 hours. So she does all that, but then they all need 20 hours behind the wheel, one-on-one, and so if you run 3 or 4 people through a class with only one certified bus driver trainer, it's going to string out and take too long to get these other drivers certified. So we use MGM to help with the behind the wheel to speed up the process.
Right.
And like as you saw tonight on consent, we approved a new bus driver who went through our program and was able to get their school bus driver's license.
What are we doing? And I know it's not a warrant, but are we? It's having to do with MGM because we're paying them for a service what are we doing to get those bus drivers in order to utilize what we're paying for? Or part of what we're paying for? Does that make sense?
That's part of all the advertisements we do when we hire them as car van drivers, so that they can get paid while they're taking the course, and the course is free. So they're actually getting paid to come do that, and then they go through the process, and they have, it's a pretty rigorous process to get there, and then they have to, it finishes with a test with CHP to be able to get your school bus driver license.
And I know I've seen questions throughout social media platforms and heard questions in the community and comments. I mean, are we, I don't know, tell me if I'm not allowed to even go this far off of a warrant consent agenda conversation, but are we like competitive enough? What are we doing?
I think we need to be careful with that because it's not agendized, but we're planning on the next few months bringing some more back on transportation, so I'll make note of that.
Okay, thank you.
One quick question. As far as the MGM agreement, does that get prorated in any way so that if we have an increase in bus drivers, does that go down as we go?
If we have an increase in bus drivers, then we would have less need for their services. So in that essence, yes, we would be paying less to them because we just have less need for them.
Yeah, we don't pay them a flat fee.
It's not a flat.
No, it's as they're used, we pay.
And that's why these warrants will vary from month to month too on the amount of usage that we have with them.
Thank you.
And then was it the only emergence was left, or?
Yeah, and I believe that one is on the county side. I could be mistaken if there is one there, but I'll have Dr. Hedegaard speak to that anyway, because it's relevant to really our services.
Okay. We can wait. It doesn't matter to me unless, all right.
Yeah, so I'm happy to speak to it. Amerigus is one of the non-public agencies that we contract with for our special education staffing. So that monthly total that then we are paying for, actually, when it comes to staffing, is providing us currently with a behavioral aid, which is often it's helping us with our subpool for our instructional aid or our medically fragile aid positions on the county side. There is 2 virtual speech and language pathologists that are providing services to our students, 1 in-person speech and language pathologist that is providing services to our students. And then we also have the 2 contracts with our special education teachers that are providing that virtual, they are providing a case management service, so they're appropriately credentialed and doing assessments for us. They are not on our campuses delivering services on a daily basis, but they're helping us to legally cover and respond to individual student needs for our families for the teacher vacancies that we have on the mild to moderate district side.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, does anybody else have any questions or comments? Okay, then we would need a motion for the consent agenda.
I move to approve item 12, the consent agenda.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we're gonna do the roll call vote. Peter? We don't do consent for the
Yes.
student board members. Okay. Ken?
Yes.
Shane?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
I'm also a yes. Okay, so we will go ahead and move on to item 13. It doesn't look like we have any communications, so we will go ahead and move to our action items, 14.1. Before we get started, we do have a public comment from Cody Gold.
Yes, back again. So let me start off by saying, as a vice president of an employee organization, I don't ever like to see, the reduction of employees or staff. That means that it comes with a lack of particular kinds of service, as the agenda title suggests, right? There's going to be holes that need to be filled, or something that's going to not get done anymore, or an opportunity that the children may not get because of it. But while reviewing both of these resolutions, I couldn't help but make the observation that one of these positions is listed had the opportunity at the last board meeting to present an overview of their position and the duties that they handle, which is great. But while others listed here have not had that same opportunity, out of respect to fairness and equity to everybody involved, I would hope that special consideration isn't given to one position over the other when we're looking at these resolutions. There's not a carve out of one particular thing. Questions that I have regarding these resolutions, and it's both of them. I know I'm talking on the first one, but how many of these positions are currently vacant, and how many will actually result in a layoff or reduction of hours to a live person? And then secondly, in reviewing the EdJoin website, it appears that there are a lot of vacancies, both certificated and classified currently in the district. And I was curious, what, if any, abilities or rights do these employees that are going to be affected by these resolutions, do they possess any transfer rights through like retraining or reclassification over, say, an outside new employee? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we will move on to discussing our first action item, the resolution to intention to terminate certificated employees. Dr. Palazuelos is unable to be here tonight, so Mr. Critchfield will go ahead and do this one.
Yes, thank you. So you can, I know the board has read this resolution and see before you those positions. Just as a couple of comments to make, 3 of the 4 positions listed are currently vacant. So just want to make that clear when it comes to these certificated layoffs. And again, employees, depending on whether they're certificated or classified, there are contractual and education code obligations when it comes to rights back to positions. So if there are vacancies, employees laid off potentially could end up in another position depending on their qualifications, credentialing, what have you. If there's a position vacant, then they potentially could move into a vacancy. And I don't have anything else, just can answer questions if you have any.
Okay, so we'll just start at the end over here. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
And real quick too, I know our student board members probably already know this, but these first 3 items, we excuse our student board members, as that is awkward for students to be voting on personnel items. So I just want to make sure we're clear on that.
Yes. Okay, Peter, did you have any questions or comments on this?
I guess the only comment that I want to make, and I hope that I can be clear, is that I appreciate the decision to strive and lead by example and try to, if we do have to make cuts, then perhaps the district office is the place to start and to be ruthlessly efficient there. And that, if I'm not mistaken, our current, and please correct me, Mr. Norton, if I'm wrong, but our current budget, we were more or less okay for this year, but it's the issue, we're qualified because it's years out. And so this is potential impact for ongoing costs, right? When we cut a position, that's potential impact, if I understand correctly.
And if layoffs are approved this evening, they do not take effect until the end of the school year. So the individuals currently in positions would hold those positions till the end of the school year.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, this is important because it's a long-term thing. It's not a short-term Band-Aid fix. We're trying to make those big calls. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Ken?
No questions.
Okay, Shane?
Just to be clear, the vice principal position, that is currently vacant, is that correct?
Yeah, that's how it's been. It's the Jackson Junior High vice principal position.
And is there, I guess, how to say this, is it in the works to eventually fill that at some point?
I mean, it depends on enrollment. I mean, we have a situation where the 6th graders were moved back to Jackson Elementary this year. So the school has less than 300 students versus Ione Junior High that has more than 400 students.
Okay.
So it has a lot to do with student population.
And I guess the reason I'm asking about the vice principal position is middle school seems like that's like the prime location for a vice principal. So I know that a lot of the comments I've received from the public is are we kind of leaving our principals kind of on an island where they're handling too much? And
yeah, and we're working with Ms. Clement on that. I mean, she's been operating that way all year. The site does have a full-time counselor that does a phenomenal job, that provides a lot of support for students, but we've been working with her all year on ways to support her and be efficient. But like I said, they haven't had a vice principal all year.
And I guess that's more of a general comment when we do these things. Just our, it's case by case. Maybe there's where it's not as necessary, but some places where it's
right. And there was a time where both of our junior highs had 400 students, and right now we have one with less than 300 and then one with 400. So,
thank you.
Okay, James.
The site counselor that you had just mentioned, in my boardwalk to Jackson Junior High, which I'm thankful that we do. I remember this site counselor being praised because of all the work that he's done and doing, and I was speaking with him, and I don't want to say that what I understood from him and them was he's just nonstop going, because I don't want to misconstrue what he was telling me and they were telling me about him or his position, but that's kind of what I got was, junior high. Everybody know, well, most people know junior high is humping and jumping. These kids are.
It's a rough time. Say it that way.
I don't know the proper terminology, but I like that. It's a tough time. My question is, I remember in this conversation years back when principals, vice principals, et cetera, I wrote down in my notes, campus supervisor. I remember somebody had told me, I believe it was I don't know who it was, but in order to make a principal not having a vice principal okay or sound better or be doable is, well, they have a campus supervisor. Is there a campus supervisor at Jackson Junior High?
Jackson Junior High has 2 campus supervisors.
Okay, all right.
And that was instituted partially because it's a more challenging supervision school, as those of you who have been on that campus, when you have essentially 4 different levels of campus, it can be a challenge to monitor.
Right.
So they've had 2 campus supervisors for a couple of years now. So.
Now, forgive me in my ignorance, I don't know job descriptions and duties and allowed duties and not allowed duties of positions, but just by the name itself, campus supervisor and vice principal, they seem fairly different. Is one allowed to do a lot more than the other?
Yeah, so a campus supervisor.
Is it what I'm trying to think is it even comparable? Are we running apples to apples, or are we running coconuts to peanuts?
Our principals and vice principals are qualified to do numerous important things that a campus supervisor cannot do. However, our principals and vice principals also do a lot of campus supervision.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I was principal at Amador, I probably spent 2 hours a day essentially being a campus supervisor. Now, beyond that, campus supervisor can't suspend students, can't evaluate teachers, can't do those types of things. But yeah, as far as campus monitoring, our administrators do a lot of that daily. That's essentially exclusive to what a campus supervisor does, is their monitoring, but they're not going to be doling out any sort of punishments, because that needs to come from an administrator.
And I know you just said that the vice principal position is not currently filled.
Hasn't been all year.
Right. And I do fear of overloading what is currently being loaded.
Yeah.
That was one of my questions regarding the vice principal situation. And again, with Mr. Gale and his comments, I feel everybody knows that from the beginning, I felt that we were top heavy and have been, so I do appreciate the start at what's happening. I don't know. My brain's not helping me right now, but I do also feel that we have a lot more work to do.
Okay, thank you. I do have a couple questions. I got a phone call this weekend and they asked about an administrator to teacher, I think it's a teacher ratio. I wanted to know what the ratio is supposed to be and are we compliant with that? And does this further make us compliant or are we just getting compliant?
So the percentage is supposed to be at or below 8%. We're currently at 7.23%. And so obviously with laying off more administrative positions, our percentage would drop from there. So we're compliant this year with our administrator ratio.
Okay, the other question I had, you already answered at the beginning, but just that, are all of these positions filled with actual individuals or not? And the answer was no to that one. Okay. One other question, like when we do talk about the vice principal position, if in the future it comes back and it's just one of these things where it's not working, or we get more enrollment, something happens, any of those things, these positions or certain positions are able to be brought back?
Absolutely, yeah. This is never a permanent layoff of a position. We always have the ability to bring positions back.
Okay. I do not have any further questions. Anybody else have anything to add? Okay, then we will need a motion on item 14.1.
I move to approve item 14.1, resolution to intention to terminate certificated employees due to reduction in particular kinds of service.
I'll second.
Okay, and then we'll do the roll call vote. Peter?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Shane?
Yes.
James?
Aye.
I'm also a yes. Okay, we'll move on to item 14.2, the determination of tie-breaking criteria.
Yeah, this is comes in conjunction with doing reduction in particular kinds of service. It is unlikely that we need to utilize the tiebreaker scenario, as was mentioned already this evening with vacancies that we have. Individuals laid off most likely will end up in vacancies, but if we end up in a tiebreaker scenario where someone would need to be laid off from employment, we need to have a tiebreaker method in place that we need to follow. And so that's why it's brought forward for you tonight. Like I said, unlikely to be utilized, but just in case it's necessary to have this to bring forward.
Okay, we'll go on the line. Any questions or comments? Peter?
I guess my only comment is, having been someone who a long time ago, 12 plus years ago in, I was working briefly for Tracy District and was someone who had to be, shall we say, the happy recipient of the losing the tiebreaker type scenario. It is an important facet, and I've never seen one with such incredible minutia. If anyone needs something to really make them go to sleep easily at night, you might want to read this document. It is something else. So I just appreciate the level of detail.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Ken?
I have no questions.
Shane?
Just to be clear, this went through legal, so it's...
Yes.
Okay.
James?
No, I don't have any questions.
I don't have any questions on this item either, so we will need a motion.
I make a motion that we approve action item 14.2, determination of tie-breaking criteria.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, and the vote, Peter?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Shane?
Yes.
James?
Aye.
I'm also a yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to item 14.3, the determination of tie-breaking criteria. Oh, sorry. 14.3, reduction of classified school services for the 25-26 school year.
Okay, thank you. So again, similar to what we just went through on the certificated side, these are classified positions. You'll notice that there are I believe, 8 listed. It actually is a total of 9 different positions. 5 of the 9 positions are currently vacant. So this impacts 4 individuals if approved. And again, there are reemployment rights and bumping rights according to our contractual obligations for employees, so the potential to move into vacancies.
Okay, we'll just start at the end again. Peter, any questions or comments?
I guess just the only comment being, and certainly this concern was raised as an issue of potential transparency regarding our communications specialist and executive assistant to the superintendent. And feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, sir, but having been formerly part of Antique Unified's communications team that was a subset of the superintendent's office, eventually it was decided by that board in Antique Unified that we had to make some adjustments, and they decided to some significant staff restructuring, and that did involve some of these type of people. And at that time, as it was explained to me in that communications team, that legally you have to, eliminate the position if you're going to change what the person actually does, that there are job description requirements. And so potentially that could be a factor here as well. If that's...
Yeah, and if I can interject, I mean, this is a restructuring of the superintendent's office, and the intention is, if this is approved, to bring back a new position, that would be a combination of duties and additional duties. So it becomes a -2+1 type scenario when it comes to positions.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Ken?
No questions.
Shane?
My concern is the communication specialist positions and the executive assistant positions. One of the comments I frequently hear is lack of transparency, lack of communication, and I'm just concerned that this gives the appearance to the public that if we're getting rid of the communication specialist position, well, we're going, like I said before, we're going to be working from a cave using a spotlight, and people are going to be wondering what's going on. And I do understand that there might be an explanation for that, but I'm just, I guess, explaining the public perception that I've been getting. And I also think that the executive assistant position, I think, is important, especially with the superintendent at an interim currently. I want our superintendent to be successful, and I'm hoping that that position would be a support that would help the superintendent achieve that successful management of the district.
Yeah, understood. It's just when we're in this reality, it becomes we get a lot of feedback publicly as well about being overstaffed at the district office as well. And so this is in part a response to that and protecting more positions that exist at our school sites.
I don't know if I can do this now. If I was opposed, could I ask that these 2 positions be, what's the term? Tabled from this?
You could, but that would need to be as part of the motion. If the motion was to approve this entire list of layoffs and you just voted no, then it wouldn't be tabled. It would have to be a motion to
a motion to approve with the exception of the 2 positions.
Yes.
Do I wait?
Yeah.
Yeah, you wait.
Okay. Yeah, we still have more. Okay. James?
I actually feel similarly to Mr. Crow regarding those 2 positions. With that being said, I actually I remember being one board member questioning concerns about that position and another position upon the swaparoo, if that's the technical term for it. I do understand that this is because, like, zooming all the way out, we got to find $2 million. I get it. And also, on record, being a guy saying that we're top heavy, I get it. Like I said, I appreciate what we're doing so far. But yeah, I actually agree with Mr. Crow.
Okay. I hear what both of you guys are saying. Somebody who has also been on record saying that, especially when we talk about like last year when we had this similar situation come up and we voted to not lay anybody off because I did not agree. I voted no personally because I did not agree with the way in which it was done or the particular positions that were put up. In regards to this one, I think sometimes we have to take more of a, like you said, a 30,000-foot view of certain things. And I hear what you're saying about public perception and the communication specialist and the administrative assistant to the superintendent. However, I don't think that we are running into the next school year with no personnel in the superintendent's office at all. But also I think that having to look at what the critical functions of those jobs are and bringing back those job duties and functions is important also. So that's kind of where I stand on that one. I don't think that any layoffs are good, but I think we do have to start somewhere. Like you said, we do have to do things, and they're not always fun to do, put it that way. So, any other questions or comments?
One more question. And certainly this doesn't have to be yes or no, but it might just be a simple yes or no. Is there any, Mr. Critchfield, is there any sort of legal requirement that if a job was added most recently, that those should be the first ones to go, or is no, that's not part of it?
There's no legal requirement for that.
No legal requirement, okay.
In this zoomed out view of $2 million, are we allowed to, like, ask what each, or are we publicly allowed to discuss how much these positions make, like, for
it's all public information.
Understanding of, like, how much we're going to save, et cetera, et cetera?
So all of the positions in total, if it goes certificated that was already approved.
Correct.
And classified, totals 1.1 million.
Right. And then, oh wait, so everything, 1.1.
Everything
Okay,
is
so
1.1.
So then, because the two in question, what about these two positions?
Combined are 240,000. And then again, with the -2 + 1, you can then.
120.
It's going to be 120.
So is the 1.1 calculated with or without the 120?
With.
It's calculated with the net, right? You've done the 2 + 1. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Is there any other questions or comments on this? Clarifications?
No.
Okay. Then we will need a motion for item 14.3.
Make sure I say this right. I move to approve, what's the number again?
14.3.
Item 14.3, get my glasses on. Resolution number ACUSD, reduction of classified school services for 2025-2026 school year, with the exception of the communication specialist position and the executive assistant to the superintendent position.
Second.
Okay, we'll need a roll call vote.
So before we vote, if we vote no on the motion as proposed, will we go back and vote for the full motion?
You can.
We would have to, there have to be another motion. Okay, Peter?
Thank you for that clarification, Ken. I appreciate that. That's very helpful. I vote no. I don't think we should remove the 2 positions from the total.
Okay. Ken?
No.
Shane?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
And I am a no. Okay. So that brings us to item.
There can be a motion for the.
Can I make a motion that we
full year.
approve action item 14.3, reduction of classified school services for the 25-26 school year?
Second.
Okay, and then the roll call vote. Peter?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Shane?
No.
James?
No.
And I am a yes. So that motion passes. So we will go ahead and bring us to item 14.4, the extended school year with Dr. Hedegaard.
Hello, good evening. As the description explains, this is requested to be an action item for our extended school year program. It is required to be 20 days, and Amador has a history of requesting the CDE waiver for us that offer the ESY program for 15 days. At the last board meeting, we had a public hearing in order to obtain information from the public in regards to, again, requesting the waiver. So tonight I am bringing back to you and requesting your approval for me to officially, on behalf of as their special education director, submit and request a waiver for this upcoming summer, that then we will host extended school year again for 15 days. The supporting documents in this item highlight that we have consulted with all of our bargaining partners and the Community Advisory Committee, and noted that they also support us moving forward with pursuing the waiver. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but I'm requesting your support to, again, process the waiver for this upcoming summer.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions on this item?
No question, but the comment, I deeply do appreciate the extra documentation and also the fact that virtually no one had any negative comments whatsoever, that it seems you have 100% full agreement with this.
Yes, I would just highlight, I think the real compromise from the community and our staff is that we offer an extended day. So the actual day of an ESY, the instructional minutes, allow us that we're still providing the same number of instructional minutes to students. If we were offering it in 20 days, we're just doing it in 15. So I think that has really been the compromise and commitment to the student needs on behalf of all parties.
Okay. Any other questions, Ken?
No.
Shane?
No questions.
James, any other questions?
I have no questions, no.
Okay. Are student board members, any questions or comments? No? Okay, then we would need, I don't have any questions or comments either, so we would just need a motion on item 14.4.
I'll make a motion that we approve action item 14.4, extended school year.
I'll second.
Okay, and the roll call vote. Molly?
Yes.
Peyton?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Shane?
Yes.
James?
Aye.
And I'm also a yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on to, we don't have any discussion items, so we'll move on to board reports. Mr. Critchfield?
Yeah, first welcome back, Molly. Thanks for being here. She's had a busy soccer season. Peyton was here last time, but obviously had missed quite a bit too for athletics. We got busy student board members, but I'm excited to hear from them tonight. I'm going to mention a couple things, but not go into detail because I'm sure they're going to go into detail. We've had a busy winter with athletics. I do want to take a moment and commend our athletes at Big Game from this past Thursday night. There was probably too much attention on what happened in the first big game. I appreciate what Mr. Marzano said last board meeting. Kids make mistakes, things happen. It was not the end of the world. It was a learning opportunity. And I saw an immense amount of sportsmanship in all three games, and I want to commend all of our athletes for that and appreciate that. I'm sure our student board members will get into detail, but we did have, by my count, 5 teams make playoffs from winter sports. We had Amador girls basketball, Amador girls soccer, Argonaut girls soccer, and both Argonaut and boys and girls basketball from Argonaut as well, which is pretty awesome. I also want to commend Mrs. Merton, our new principal up at Pioneer. It's very difficult to become a principal mid-school year. I had a visit with her recently and just want to commend her and the staff up there, the staff for embracing her and bringing her along. New office staff as well, 2 new office staff who are doing a great job, and just the feel and the vibe up at Pioneer was just really, really positive. They even had some gifts prepared for me, so they buttered me up pretty good when I went there. It was pretty awesome to visit with them. And I'm sure Ken will talk about this a little bit more. We did a boardwalk at transportation today. I know that there's been a lot of attention on transportation. I just want to remind people, the transportation employees you see, let's not take it out on them. They're the ones here. They're the ones meeting all of the difficult qualifications to drive a bus. This is a statewide challenge. I know a district close to us recently reduced from 9 routes in their district down to 3 for their lack of drivers. And so this is something we're proactively trying to fix. But as we look around statewide, most districts are in a very similar predicament to us with transportation. So I want to commend our transportation employees who are showing up, who are there, and are meeting all these qualifications, because we would be in a worse situation if it weren't for them. And I just want to express my appreciation to them. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead and start with Molly.
Yes, hello, sorry, haven't been here for a while, so it's good to see everyone. So the most recent thing, obviously, that happened at Argonaut was the big game. So because the most recent one was a home game, the week leading up to it, we had our Spirit Days, and then we had our Winter Sports Rally on the Thursday. That was our theme for the big game was Glow Big or Go Home. So we had a neon out, I guess, and so it was really fun because we ordered these kind of fancy black lights, and we lit up our gym. So our gym was glow in the dark. I think Amateur's done it in the past, but we did like glow in the dark paint, and then anyone who's wearing like white or that kind of thing, they like glowed. So we did that at the rally, and then again at the game when they announced the roster, or like the starting players. And then the big game was also kind of just a busy time for ASB and commissioners, because during in between the games, we had boys senior night, girls senior night, band senior night, winter homecoming, king and queen ceremony, and the ceremony to induct Mitchell McMahon and Luca Mullen into the 1,000 Point Club. So that was kind of just a busy night full of fun activities. And so yeah, and then the following Friday night, we had our annual winter homecoming. The theme for that, because it was on Valentine's Day, was Love is in the Air. Our freshmen and sophomores worked really hard in ASB to plan that dance. So I heard it was very successful. I had a playoff game that day, so I couldn't go, but everyone said it was really amazing. As for our sports, all of our winter teams are either finished with their season or, like Mr. Critchfield said, in playoffs. Girls basketball won their first playoff game last night, and then boys basketball have their first playoff game tonight. I believe they're winning right now as of my last update, but yeah, so super excited for them. They're the 2nd seed, I believe. And then our girls soccer team has played 2 playoff games. We won our second one last night, and then our first one on Friday. So super excited for all of the winter sports teams who are still continuing, and proud of the ones who finished their seasons. And then lastly, our softball team and the other spring sports are beginning this next couple weeks. Softball had their first game today, and then the rest are kind of just starting in the following weeks. Additionally, though, our girls cheer team went to Florida. I heard they had an amazing time. I think they went to Disney World, and they competed, obviously, for a couple of days. But, yeah, so super fun to see all of them post about how much fun they were having and how they had a great end to the season. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Peyton?
Okay, my report isn't as long because I was here 2 weeks ago. But good evening to everyone. And in ASB, we've been juniors. We planned the prom, and we've been working very hard on getting it all set up and prepped. And our younger ASB students are looking forward to their castle trip in Santa Clara. That's a good opportunity for all of them to go get some leadership skills and everything. And as everyone kind of already mentioned before, our winter sports, most of our teams went to playoffs, like our girls basketball team, our girls and boys soccer team, and ski and snowboard teams are in the state championships, and I'm looking forward to see how they do. With all the other winter sports coming to an end, our spring sports are getting ready, and baseball and softball have upcoming tournaments this weekend, and tennis and all the other ones are getting started with practices and preseason games, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how those play out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Peter?
Okay, so I do appreciate the update about the big game type thing. And to me, this might seem really trivial, and I hope I'm not wasting anyone's time, but I had a miraculous experience, although ridiculously brief experience. Unfortunately, I had some things going on in Manteca and couldn't get there. And when I got there, I immediately started taking some photos. And so with 4:26 left in the second period, and the score at the time was 28 Mustangs to 24 Amador Herd, I saw something that really warmed my heart, where they're on a fast break and some student went down, and the player from the opposing team immediately stopped to help him up. We got good kids. I'm excited for all the success. It's super awesome. I appreciate that I was invited to more girls basketball, but unfortunately I was doing the scoreboard for my own, East Union girls basketball team. That's why we're here, for students. And I'm thrilled to be a part of this board because I truly think that's why we're all here, to do what's right for kids. I'm excited that I didn't quite get on the invites as quickly as some of these guys did. There's only 2 spots legally to go to some of these school visits, but I've got my spot. I'm coming on Friday, and I'm coming next Thursday of next week. And not that you want to take time off as a teacher, but sometimes you do. So I'm excited for that opportunity and grateful that my own students are supportive of it. We study American literature for junior English, and so it's been an opportunity to talk a little bit about the process, about elections, about what this all means. Your service matters. Is Mr. Gold still in the room? Yes, Cody? That's awesome, the tribute to the teachers that have made an impact in your life. And so I don't know if it's appropriate or not, and I don't know yet what the culture is for this piece. Somehow if we have this in place, I've missed it. But one of the things that I really love about Manteca Unified is they take the time, and sometimes it was so brief, they didn't have an event, they just made a video. But they take the time to publicly thank the people for different years of service. Once they hit like 20 years of service, these are the people who've been here for 20 years, for 25 years, for 30 years, whatever. These are the people retiring this year. Let's, great accolades for them. And so,
if I can interject,
please.
We do that at our all-staff kickoff at the beginning of the year.
Okay,
We celebrate all of the years of service employees, and then at the end of the year, we do a retirement event for all of our retirees.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. That is fabulous, because it matters. It matters. Thank you.
Thank you. Ken?
So a few things. It's not easy to be a board member. We are all here just for the kids. There are hard decisions that have to be made to keep this district healthy and moving forward, and that's what happened tonight. So there's no personal feelings towards it. It just sometimes has to be done. And I hope everybody understands that. It's not the board thinking, oh, we can just get rid of these people, they don't matter. That it couldn't be farther from the case. But hard decisions have to be made sometimes, and that's what we did tonight. On a better note, I had the privilege of visiting one campus and then transportation. I visited Ione Junior High last Friday with Mr. Critchfield, and that's a junior high with 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. One thing that I noticed was it was one of the cleanest campuses I've ever seen, along with being one of the biggest. So, more power to that maintenance team out there. I want to give them a shout out. Also, Butch Wagner, we both grew up here and went to the schools here. He was a couple years behind me. But one thing I've noticed about him and his relationship with the kids, they were coming up and hugging him, and he never didn't smile. So I think that's a great asset for our children. Today, I went and visited transportation, and I can tell you that Paul, who runs that division, is doing everything he can to find drivers. In the driver's lounge, there's a timeline for how long it takes for these new bus drivers to get certified. And it's, there's a lot of tests they have to pass, 20 hours of instruction, 20 hours behind the wheel. At the time, it looks like we have about 3 bus drivers that are really close to the end. And from what I understand, that would staff us fully as the bus drivers. Our issue with bus drivers is that we just have no substitute drivers. So when somebody calls in sick at 5 in the morning, there's nobody we can call and say, hey, we need you to fill in for this shift. So that's an issue. Also, as far as, I know there's a lot of questions about the MGM busing. Something I found out today is that MGM, they provide drivers for us, but they drive our buses for the most part. So we're not paying for a driver and their bus. Now, still, it's an expensive expense, but they are driving our buses. They're licensed to be California school bus drivers. And from what I can see, we're doing everything we can to make that department run efficiently. The drivers I met seem to really enjoy their jobs. It's thankless. It's a split shift. So, when you hear that there's a bus cancellation, people get sick. It just happens. And I know the district's doing everything we can to try and limit how often that happens, but things happen. So I just want to say kudos to Ione Junior High and to the Transportation Department, and thanks for letting me come see what was going on.
Okay, thank you. Shane?
I have a few site visits coming up, and I look forward to them. I think I'm going up country, and also I think I have one in Sutter Creek, so I'll be looking forward to visiting those sites. I'm interested to visit with maintenance personnel while we're there. I want to wish everyone a happy National Engineers Week from your local nerd. I'd like to hear from some of the STEM classes to see what they do for National Engineers Week. There's when I was in school, they always had a Rube Goldberg contest. That was always, it was like the event of the week to see how many steps you could do something simple like sharpen a pencil. So it'd be interesting to see what the STEM classes, if they're doing it, or if they are planning to do something in the future, or if they're looking for ideas. I could always throw in my 2 cents. Going back to tonight, I loathe tonight. This is the worst part of being on the board. This impacts people's lives, and it's not fun to impact them like that. And I really do not like making these choices. And those choices aren't made with any kind of malice. In fact, they're the opposite. And wanted that to go out there. And lastly, I want to encourage, riding the coattails of Peter, I want all our students to look out for each other and stand up for your fellow students, and if you see someone bullying, step up for them.
All right, thank you. James?
I was hitting the wrong button. I did a boardwalk at Argonaut Monday, I believe, Tuesday, yesterday. It was great to see the campuses. Like I always say, it helps put what we do up here into perspective, visiting these campuses. I was not able to visit transportation today. I was slotted to go. Stupid, crazy schedule today. I'm glad Ken did get to go. I believe it was my second year on the board. I said, "Hey, do we visit transportation?" And they were like, "No, they're out of there at like 5 a.m." I was like, "Well, I'm a 4:30 a.m. kind of guy. I'll go." I went and rode the bus and hung out like 4:30 a.m. over there. So I'm glad you got to do that. That's important for us to see that as well. I was wondering if I could get some clarification on the MGM bus statement that Ken had said regarding they drive our buses. Is that true for like sporting events and stuff? What are those big white buses they drive? That's not
So
ours.
you won't see near as many big white buses this year. I mean, there have been times when they've been used. Last year, we predominantly used Delta Charter. And as Robert mentioned earlier, when we chartered a bus for something like that, it would be in the neighborhood of $2,000.
Yeah.
So with MGM, while again, just like Ken said, it is expensive, when we have them utilize our own bus, then the cost goes down to $700.
For sure.
And so that's been, that was one of the reasons we shifted away from Delta Charter and started using MGM.
Okay. So what is the percentage of them using our buses and not their buses? Is it all the time, or is it?
I would say the majority of the time they're using our buses.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't have a percentage, but.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's very good to know.
Yeah, because again, our problem is not enough drivers. We have enough buses. Like, so that's, I mean, that's the challenge right now is the actual drivers, but the buses, we have enough.
Okay. That's good to know. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Okay, I also agree with Shane. This was a meeting I didn't actually really want to come to tonight because this doing layoffs and things that is a huge impact on people's lives, and it's not something I think any one of us actually wanted to come and do today. So I will leave it at that. But we did get to go on a boardwalk. I also went to Argonaut yesterday and got to walk around. There's a lot of different programs on that campus that we got to see. We did get to go see our extensive needs preschool in action, and they're doing some really cool things over there with those kids. That was really great. We went to the Trillia Center and saw their big new classroom and them get ready to go to PE and those kind of things. So that was fun. I also got to hear about some of the things that they're doing with our portables. While it's not, the most ideal situation, but they have been doing some really good work with replacing floors, almost like flipping them. If you're talking about like flipping the portables, which sounds wonderful, but they have been doing some really good work and they actually turn out really nice. So when you have to be creative with what you're doing with your money, I think that they're going in the right direction. So hopefully we can maybe use that as a model for some other schools to start working on getting our facilities up to snuff. I am going to Jackson Junior High School and Jackson Elementary tomorrow, so I'm excited to go meet with some more people, talk to staff and students, and that is all that I have.
Kayla, when did we go to Amador? Did we report on that the last?
We did.
We did?
Yeah. I did. We did. We talked about it.
Okay, I just didn't want to, I got my weeks messed up.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
right before the last board meeting we went.
Sorry, I just came back
It
from
was
a
the same
cruise.
day, actually. Yeah, so yeah, your cruise. Okay. So our next meeting, it looks like, is to be Wednesday, March 5th, 2025, here in this building. Open session at 6:30, and we are adjourned. County meeting. All of the board members are present. Are there any deletions or corrections to the agenda?
No.
Okay, we do not have any presentations or recognitions. For special educators in Amador County SEEK, I don't see Miss Angie Lucas. Is Miss Matheson here to speak? No? Okay. Do we have any public comments on non-agenda items? No? Okay. Does anybody have any questions on the consent agenda? No? Okay, we will go ahead. We don't have any communications. Oh, we need to approve it though. Oh, we do need to approve, okay. So we will move on. We need a motion for the consent agenda, please.
Move to approve item 8, consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, and the roll call vote, Peter?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Shane?
Yes.
James?
Aye.
I'm also a yes. Okay, so we will move on to item 9. We don't have any communications.
Kayla?
Yeah.
I apologize for interrupting.
Yeah.
I don't know if she filled out a comment card or not, but it's possible that Bonnie Gale might want to address the board, and she's in the restroom right now. So just an FYI.
Do you have a comment card?
No,
we don't have a comment card, so we're gonna go ahead and move forward.
Perfect.
Okay. We are on item 10, action items. We do have one, the extended school year with Dr. Hedegaard.
Good evening, board. This is a companion item with what we just had you approve in the district meeting. So again, I am asking for your action for me to submit a waiver with the California Department of Education to again acknowledge that then any county programs that we operate, they would be operating again under a 15-day instructional model rather than the 20 days. So I'm happy to answer any questions. The same supporting documents are attached in order to highlight the collaboration that we've had with our bargaining partners and the Community Advisory Committee.
Okay. Is there any questions on this item? Okay.
So I'm just curious as to why we have to do it. If they normally it's 20 days, we only do 15 days.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that within the realm of up to 20 days?
Oh, the language, it doesn't say up to. So the education code actually says we need to host it for 20 instructional days. So we're requesting the waiver to say we're going to host it for fewer, for the 15 days. But where we have a lot of support from all of our partners in this is that we put the same number of instructional minutes that's required under 20 days into 15. And I believe that's why we have historically received approval from the Department of Education for the waivers that we have submitted.
So this is just the board saying, go ahead and propose that we only do 15 days, and you have to submit it to the state?
Correct. The waiver process requires that I, on your behalf, seek an action item and permission to submit for the waiver in the first place. So then I will complete the paperwork with your approval on behalf of the county office and the Unified School District to submit the waivers. And then the waiver process takes quite some time. We will hopefully find out before the summer that then it's been approved. But the last 3 years, the Department of Ed has provided approval for Amador to operate in this model.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, then we would need a motion for this item.
I move that we approve action item 10.1, extended school year.
Second.
Okay, and then we'll do the roll call vote. Peter?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Shane?
Yes.
James?
Aye.
And I'm also a yes. Okay, so we move on to item 11. We don't have any discussion items. We do have information only. And does anybody have any questions on information only? Comments? Okay. So we will move on to reports. Does anybody have any additional report? Peter?
I did. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to run that. Ken?
Yeah, one thing, when I was at Ione Junior High, and you can fill in the numbers, Jared, we were in the gym, which, by the way, is a gym that I used to go to as a sixth grader at 6 a.m. in the morning to practice basketball, so I'm kind of the gym means a lot to me. They had a flooring issue, and we got a bid for, I'm just going to say, $30,000, but our maintenance team was able to go in there and replace the flooring and did a great job, and they did it for $10,000. Now, those numbers might be wrong, but I think the ratios are correct.
You got the ratios right. It was over 100,000 was the quote, and then our maintenance team did it for 30.
I thought that might be the case, but still, significant savings. So shout out to the maintenance team and Joe Cruz. Thank you.
Yes, the floors look really nice. We've been in there. Shane? James?
I wanted to, in the prior meeting, and of course this one as well, but I'll make it up for that, from not that one to this one. The Argonaut girls cheer team did go to Florida, as the student board member said, and I was there with them, and they did a phenomenal job. Watching their routine live was amazing. Those girls really busted their butts. They really dug deep and found that drive amongst each other as a team to try to get their best routine. Unfortunately, it wasn't their day, but the opportunity I feel for this group of kids, young ladies, is what it's all about, because talking with other parents and coaches and kids who like go almost yearly and seeing how they get down was like, holy smokes. And I think that it was a great opportunity for the girls to be like, ooh, okay, that's what we need to do to be here all the time. So they did really, really good. The coaches did good. Phenomenal. Big shout out to the Argonaut girls cheer team. Not because my daughter's on there, but because they deserve it.
Okay. I just realized I skipped you. Did you have any more? Nope. Okay. I do not have any other reports. So our next meeting is Wednesday, March 5th, also scheduled to be held here. It will start immediately following the district meeting, and we are adjourned.